Hi,
Hello.
everybody.
Today's episode is just a recap of the race. Um, Boring would
Yeah,
be the one word response for me, but there are things that happened there that as a race fan, as a Formula One fan, made me go, huh? And you're rooting for Oliver Bearman at the very end, rooting against fresher tires versus his tire. There's stuff there throughout the race that was enjoyable. It's just I'll be honest, the Red Bulls are too good.
yeah, yeah. And but that's not Red Bull's fault. That's
Oh,
the fault of all the other teams.
yeah,
And everyone goes, "Oh, well, they've got Adrian Newey."
it's a person.
I'm
They've
sorry.
got one person.
Yeah.
Is
Adrian
that what
Newey
you're
isn't
saying?
doing everything.
Yeah, exactly.
He comes up with the concept, and the other people fine tune it.
He might be the team lead, sure, right? But you're not a good leader without being able to delegate certain roles. And if he has a team of aerodynamics people, that means it's not just one person creating that Red Bull.
Yeah, and it's like when Braun came out with the double diffuser. It wasn't Braun who gets the credit for it who did it. It was an unknown Japanese aerodynamics who said, "Hey, we might be able to do this,
Right.
which will give us extra downforce."
And it's cool that that happened, but it's this happens with war
Yeah,
and history. It's like Napoleon was this really great man. It's just like, or did he just have a really big army full of
I
really
think he was a good
good? Yeah,
strategist as well.
Napoleon was a bad example, but it's like a lot of people will put. Oh, I was at the Battle of Agincourt. Yes, you were. You were there to tend to the horses, but Sir Williamson, you were so scared that we let you do that. But I was there.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Well,
that. I don't know.
anyway, that's off racing.
Yeah.
Let's keep it to racing. Um,
Um.
The Red Bulls were good. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think Checo disposed of Charles quite easily. Not much Charles could do about it. And
Um.
then
Yeah.
I
Uh,
thought the 5 second penalty for leaving the pit lane a bit dangerous. It was a bit harsh.
at the point of the race, I completely understand why they did it. They're like, okay, hopefully, hey, maybe we can make this a bit exciting. And Perez just ran away.
Pulled away.
Like Max, we're used to pulling away. Perez last year was fighting till the end.
Yeah,
Perez finally pulled off a bye guys.
yeah. And he kept the gap. Basically, once he got past, he had to get past Lewis, then um, Lando. And by the time he got past them, it was about 7 or 8 seconds down.
Yeah,
And that gap remained the same throughout the race.
yeah.
They just pulled away from Charles, and Charles was about 20 seconds behind Max on
It, it
19.
it was just a strategy game that they got to
Yeah.
play because Red Bull didn't. They just pitted once, right?
Yeah.
Pitted once,
Most of the
brought it
teams
home.
did once.
Um, and the teams that waited till the end, like Norris and Hamilton, to do quick sprint, tire wasn't there.
No, they didn't have the pace.
So it
But
was never going to be a two-stop race.
I understand why they did it because they'd have double stacked them and they'd come out further behind. But it might have given them a chance to attack the other drivers.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just Lance Stroll trying to take too much out of a corner into a safety car, and the only thing we were really looking at that point was Bearman racing Sunoda, and he was on softs. And honestly, he was the only person making it interesting at the very beginning.
Yeah. And
Obviously, lap one, lap two, you got me like, but after that, it was just like the risky rookie.
yeah,
And honestly, he had a good race. I think.
he did his best time on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, exactly. So he was pushing it when the
Yeah.
deg was gone. Like, so
And
he really did get the most out of the car
I saw his commentary
for his
afterwards when
inexperience.
he's being interviewed on the after show, and he went, where does it ache? He says, I'd be better to tell you where it doesn't.
Yeah.
Apparently, he just ached his whole body with taking the G forces. But
There's a
to keep it
picture.
together,
There's a picture
yeah,
of the cushions. You know how they have
yeah,
the stuff around their heads. There's a picture of before the race, like as it's starting and the end, and it's just crumpled up on the left side
yeah,
because it's just him. First of all, probably not fitting properly, but his neck isn't Formula One ready, so that's him just going,
yeah.
just
Oh,
just
we've
getting
all
it
seen
pushed
the,
into the car.
we've mostly all seen those videos of Checo doing his neck exercises.
Yeah. And they look intense. I've seen Norris
Yeah,
do them. They do videos
yeah.
of that.
Well,
And
when you consider Hamilton, and he's a typical, I'll say he's the typical example. He's a little guy.
fairly
He's got an
small.
18
Yeah.
and a half inch neck,
Yeah. Which is probably my size.
which isn't a little guy's neck.
No, no, it's not.
No,
It's their necks are always huge.
yeah,
And like Quadrant, I think is Lando Norris's YouTube stuff. They'll do videos and it's like Lando's pulling 20 kilograms with his neck
mm,
or like resisting it or whatever. And then the normal people are doing 5 and they're dying.
yeah,
And Lando's just like, that's what I do. That,
yeah,
and honestly, it's like they have two muscles that really matter for Formula One, right?
yeah.
It's the leg that breaks, and it's the neck. It's those two things. That
I
you
know
need.
most would say also the core because that's holding you all together.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's true.
yeah,
I mean, you need to be
but the
full.
neck is what feels it more than the
Yeah,
core.
it's like you need that brake force that they all have, obviously, because they're Formula One drivers, but it's a lot of power. It's a lot of power.
Yeah,
And like they'll throw rookies in the Formula One cars and go, oh, 30-40% brake force. Good job. Um, so it's that muscle and then the neck that make you stand out. And he's a Formula Two driver, so his
you're not used to
level
the laps.
of yeah, he's not used to the speed of braking. It's all crazy at Formula One compared to Formula Two. And yeah, he did a good job. He really did. He made it interesting. He was a thing to watch this weekend. I think
Yeah,
if Sainz was there, obviously you're back to oh god, don't make our
I think,
Leclerc look bad, you know.
yeah, I
But
think he
they
would have
got to
done as
avoid
well
that. They got to avoid that as a team for a week. Good for them.
because there's no way science is going to sit back and accept just staying there.
I mean, if you look at the difference between a rookie to get into the car, what do you get? P8,
He got P7 in
P7,
the end,
P7.
and then
Um,
P11 in qualifying.
yeah. So P11 in qualifying, where let's be honest, one practice session and it's you know, I
And
get
the
a practice
destructive
session.
practice session as well
I get
because of Zhao.
yeah. So I get that you've had laps around in the car, but you've never driven a Formula One car before. So it's just like you have to learn that. Oh, and I'm also trying to learn the track. And so his qualifying was like I was saying, oh, he's gonna go through Q2. He didn't, but he got close, very close. So
And when
he really showed off this weekend.
and when you take drivers of say Hamilton's age, I think Ricardo's age was the last time they really did it. They all were spending time at the test track,
Yeah, they got the test. And
thousands of hours testing.
even a normal rookie would be able to test in all those sessions that they have at the beginning of the year
Yeah,
and then do the practices and then have a race weekend and then do another practices. This kid had one disjointed practice session and then pulled
I think he
P7
was
off.
in last year for one pre-practice
Yeah, but
in the old car,
come on.
so he doesn't know what this car's like. They only start setting it up for him about 2 hours before. They were
Well,
adjusting it during free practice 3 for him. He did a good show. There's no doubt about it. And I like the way he got told off on when he was on the parade lap, where they were taken all the drivers round, and he was called up to speak to them. And he sees his father and his Formula 2 team
Yeah.
up in the balcony somewhere, and they go, "You're live on TV."
First of all, I know I work in TV, but like that's a moment that you get to capture. You're like, wow, what genuine fun, and like that's so
Yeah,
cool. The interviewer's like, no, my questions are better than that. It's
yeah.
like get over yourself in a way, but
But he did well, and because they told him with about 10 laps to go that they were going to be on top of him in 4 laps.
yeah. So first of all, Ferrari strategy.
Yeah.
They will overtake you in 4 laps. It's like, oh, fuck. Could you imagine? Damn it! I'm gonna go from P7 to P9 just like that. Oh, and then it was like, what about now? It's like you're doing good. You're doing good laps. Yeah, actually, maybe you could. It's like Ferrari was surprised.
Yeah.
But I'll say this.
Fred came out and supported him afterwards.
I think the Ferrari car must be good
Yeah.
to be able for a rookie to step into it and then on a tough circuit. It's not an easy circuit. I think Mick struggled here with the crash. Lewis Hamilton struggled here during the
Last year, this
first.
year, the year before
Pretty
that.
much, yeah. He doesn't like this track.
No.
And then here comes a rookie. It was great.
Yeah,
Good for him.
well, for a rookie, I'm driving a Formula 1 car. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine his heart rate when he...
You could see his
Oliver.
heart rate by his dad's heart rate.
Yeah. Oliver, this is Fred. But we're going to make you drive today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be ready.
His heart would have been gone from 60 beats a minute to 150 just like
Yeah.
that.
Well, you know how that goes. You get the phone call. Of course, sure. Yeah, I'll be ready. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. 110%.
Screams.
Dad. Just like right away, just Dad. Fuck. It's happening.
And he looks so young. He doesn't even look 18.
Well, and that's a thing we can talk about in this race, right? Hulkenberg got the point.
Yeah.
Haas got the point. They are older drivers,
Yeah.
but is it silly to keep older drivers around when there's young talent like that you could possibly grab?
Well, I saw Formula 1 was using the Alpine reserve driver, the Australian
Jack Doohan.
Jack, yeah, Doohan.
Doohan.
And I'm thinking,
something like that.
Is that guy ever going to get into a race car?
Oh, I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, and he was good. He was good in Formula 2. And
we talked about this yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
Formula 2 champs don't automatically get a Formula 1 chair, but then they can't do Formula 2, which is the best place to prove that you can do Formula 1. It's just, it sucks in a way, because that's happened to plenty of drivers. They win Formula 2, and then how else do they prove themselves? So they try Formula E. Then it's you and 20 other people trying to prove themselves again.
Yeah.
So it's
but yeah, so I thought he did a good race. I thought Charles did a good race, particularly to get the fastest lap on the last lap.
Yeah, just try it out.
Yeah.
Said I was just trying to have fun.
And because he going over the line, Checo had got the fastest lap.
I didn't
Charles
know that.
got a toe and just pipped him again. That was good.
That's good. Yeah.
Then you got Oscar. He drove a good race, but it just shows you the speed on the straights. But I would like to bring up one thing.
Yeah.
They threatened Norris for moving under braking on Hamilton.
Sure.
They gave him the black and white flag. You do that again, you're in for a penalty.
Yeah, Norris got lucky.
But Hamilton was subtly braking, doing the same to Piastri as well.
He was.
and
He was. I saw it. But I feel like there's
and
going to be
but
more leeway for Lewis Hamilton.
and also, yeah, there always is. And the way he basically, when Piastri actually did overtake him, but then went off track, it was like Piastri was like, he's gonna. I know he's gonna push me off track here, and went off because even Hamilton did not leave the space, which he's supposed to do, because he was basically alongside him. He took the line, the driver's line, and really,
Yeah,
it would have been an
Piastri said,
accident.
"Nah, nah, mate.
No, I want my points, Mike.
I'll just pass you later. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter." Yeah.
When you go in the pits, I'm going to get a shrimp and put it on the barbie, and
That's not a good one. That's not a good Aussie accent.
no,
But
it's a long time since I lived there.
so yeah, he had a quiet but good race. It does show that because I remember Norris really during the high speed corner completely
He was
ran away.
pulling away, yeah.
Completely ran away
But
from Hamilton. But you're
so they,
right. The straight line speed, nothing happened when their wing opened.
yeah,
So they have to fix their wing.
so they have to learn trust your drivers a bit more. So give them a little less downforce to up your top speed, but don't do too much so they lose the corner. It's a
Yeah, they
balancing act
gave
for now.
a bit. Yeah, you're right. They gave a bit too much. So I mean, it was very obvious. It's like it
It,
was the camera was on Lewis Hamilton, and they were going through the beginning of the lap, and you just saw every corner, and there's a bunch of them at the beginning. Norris just got a little bit further, and then it
yeah.
panned to Mick Schumacher, who just saw the same thing we all did, and when he went,
Oh, yeah.
which means
And
our team's car it's not as good. He's probably like our car sucks, or something. I don't know. I don't know,
well, all
but
the positive tones that
ugh,
Hamilton was given about the car in Bahrain
gone.
before gone. It after the race, they've got to do something to this car. It's terrible.
Did okay? There was a moment. I think it was Leclerc passing Hamilton. I don't think it was
Yeah.
Bearman.
No, Bearman
Um,
didn't pass. It was in. That was the pits thing.
yeah. So there was that moment where it's like Lewis could have defended harder, but didn't.
Yeah.
Like, all right, take it. I'm going there. I'm going to work for you guys next year. So there seems to be
Almost.
stuff like that happening.
Well, also don't forget, with him defending, knowing that eventually the Ferrari's going to get past him, it's just slowing him down by defending all the time,
Yeah, you could say that.
and that would
Sure.
make his race even worse. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think there is something in that. But again, I just think I'd like to see next season. I think there's 13 spaces drivers up for
Contract.
contract renewal. There's a whole load I want to see gone. Well, I know you don't like this. I like to see Ricardo gone.
I'm actually so 2 years ago. I'm like, oh, come on, keep him in.
Even Yuki
I
out.
think this year's like Ricardo has to outshine everybody to
Yeah,
keep
and
a
he's not.
Formula One seat. He's not. You're right.
And if he doesn't watch it, he's going to get the same as Nick De Vries halfway through the season.
And who's going to replace him?
Liam Lawson.
Yes, there he goes. He's
I got
remembering.
that this
He's got his name down
time.
now. And I think that's a genuine thing for RP this year.
But I also
I
think
think
for
if the
same
driver
applies
who
to Yuki.
well, what was sorry?
I think the same applies to Yuki. He's
Yeah,
got to.
but if you look at the race, right? Yuki had an opportunity to pass the Haas,
He
uh,
did pass
but
it once,
but um, aggressive defending forced
and Lee,
him to give it up essentially,
and then
and
he
then he
lost the
lost
place,
another space. So that really screwed him in terms of track positioning.
and then the 5-second penalty as well.
You got a 5.
Yeah, because of when before the race started, he came out in front of Lando when they're all leaving to go through the parade laps,
Okay.
and Lando had to brake, and it was they're
The
all
moment.
they're all
Okay.
on the red. Oh look, he just pulled out in front of me,
Yeah.
I had to brake a little bit on
Yeah,
old tires.
yeah.
And to be fair, Alonso did the same about Perez as well. I had to brake.
I would
Yeah, but
say Alonso's is more genuine, less acting, where it's like, oh, I almost crashed there. You know, it wasn't like a, I almost crashed there. Penalty. No, it was a genuine, like, oh, like,
yeah,
ooh, oh, because it was, an
yeah.
aggressive,
But there was
but
no smoke. There's no smoke or anything like that from
Red
racing.
Bull definitely. It's so Red Bull. It's like, well, if they would have just finished their pit stop 0.1 seconds faster, it wouldn't have been a problem. They're gonna go back home and we should have been faster. They would have never happened. That's 5 seconds on us. That
Yeah. So
their pit crew is just
so
insane.
Lando basically once Alonso got passed by Piastri at the beginning,
Yeah.
you never really heard anything from him.
No.
And then he goes,
I will
I'm going
say,
into qualifying mode now. And
well, the cars.
Piastri just kept the gap.
No. He was doing it so Russell didn't pass him. There's
Yeah,
no.
but
There
Russell
was.
kept they
There
kept the
was.
same gap as well.
Yeah, there was no Piastri Alonso battle ever. The car was
No.
way ahead. I think Alonso outperformed his car.
Yes.
And when he said, I'm doing qualifying laps, he genuinely was doing perfect laps as perfectly as he could, which you kind of think you'd want that every time, right? But he's probably maxing out the speed that he can do.
I think to do that every lap, there's very few drivers who can do that every lap of the race. Schumacher seemed to be one of them.
Well, it's
The
like
old Schumacher.
it's concern. They can all do it. They can all go out around a race, finish all the laps. They should technically all be able to do it at this point. It's being able to do it maximized.
Yeah.
And then keeping the same lap times over and over and over. That's what separates the greats.
Yeah. Well, that was Hamilton could do that in the past.
In the past, he's more normal now.
Alonso also.
Yeah, but
Max does it.
Max
Schumacher
does it.
it.
Michael
Senna
Schumacher
does
did it. Yeah.
All the big greats did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think everyone on the grid can do it at the moment.
What are you talking about? Logan Sargent could definitely do it.
Well, keep the same, yeah, but we're on about fast laps.
No, I'm just joking. No, you're totally right. It's crazy how even at the peak you can see a difference because they're the 20 best. They're technically because they're the highest paid drivers.
Yeah,
by far of
even
any
the
racing.
full-paid drivers are getting great money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I remember Yuki was making less than $1 million, which is like, oh, woe is me, less than $1 million. It's like I wish I was making a little less than $1 million, but
yeah, he's making 990.
No, he was making 750,000 as a rookie. Very
but most rookies go in for the first year to get that sort of salary.
No, most of them are about 1 to 1.5.
Mick wasn't getting that.
Mick didn't?
No.
Well, I bet you some of them have to sacrifice. Oh, yeah, of course. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Haas. But that sucks. He was probably only making $500,000.
Russell, we didn't hear anything of during the race. He couldn't do anything.
Well, and that's the thing. The Mercedes really just
at the moment,
it's top of the mid pack. Maybe it's weird. It's like it's the McLaren looked better this race than the Mercedes, but didn't last week.
No, this circuit suited them better.
Yeah, and so Mercedes was good, but not as good as Ferrari last week, and then Ferrari was way better than them this week. It's weird to kind of place everyone right now, but it's very clear. It's like Red Bull, very good. Ferrari, good. And then everyone else is like a chunk behind Ferrari right now, I would say.
Yeah, I think Ferrari is definitely got its head clear in the water compared to the others.
It seems like
The
it's a
others are
clear
bobbing, and
second
they're just
place.
there with their head right up.
It seems like they're a clear second place right now. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas Red Bull are like walking on water.
But I'll say this, right? If everything's perfect right now, everything's great for Red Bull, but it's a glass house.
Why'd you say that?
I really believe that if Red Bull suddenly went, oh, we're now Mercedes, right? We're only getting third, fifth. If Max got consistently fourth place this year and Perez is like seventh, Red Bull will be falling apart.
Well, I
Because they're
think
1-2ing all this off the field drama, Horner, Marco Helmut, Jos Verstappen, all these people saying things, doing things, a Game of Thrones happening at Red Bull. If they weren't doing perfect season 1-2s right now, it would be way worse. And you can kind of hear the awkwardness. Because last year was
oh,
like
you
fun. Christian Horner, yeah, cracking jokes. We're all having a good time. Woo, we're first. Now
oh,
it's just like, hello, Max. Very good job today. Where's the script? Very good job today. I hope you had fun. Let's keep going. You know,
yeah.
very. It's
And
not like
the
that, but
response back is equally as stilted. But I
lovely
think
day. Simply lovely. You know,
but I think
car felt amazing.
I actually believe that Red Bull parent company has sorted it all out now.
I hope so.
All the business about Marco being suspended, gone away.
Yep.
Um, so Marco's not suspended.
Yep.
The only problem I see now is they might be turning around to because you heard it from Horner after this interview afterwards on Sky. He turned around and basically said, there's 1,400 people in this organization. From the lowest to the top, we are a team. We have to act like a team or else,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
No one is above the team. And that was a direct thing to Max.
I
Stop
get.
your
I get
stop
that.
your threats or else you can go. But don't forget, if he
Mm,
breaks his contract, he's out of racing unless someone pays Red Bull a lot of money.
Yeah, because he gets paid so much. No. Max is either trying to get out of the contract through a clause, or he will be there till the end of it,
I think
which is what,
this is
2028.
eight, yeah, end of 28.
Yeah,
I
and
think it's
I
all down to his dad.
no, his dad is playing the voice
Yeah.
of probably what Max wants. He probably wants all this. Probably
Hey,
wants. I have a feeling, right? All your friends and the entire business that you race against is about to have a fun, silly season. And you, yet again, are missing all the fun. And so to me, it might be a little bit of like, I don't want to, what if I want to go to Ferrari? What if, it's a little bit of that where it's the curiosity of youth. And then using his dad as the mouthpiece of that, saying like, look, everyone hates you anyway. Everyone
I,
thinks you're a
I,
bad dad. So if you say stuff, it's not going to come back to me.
yeah, I think was silly to sign till 28.
Well,
26 should have been good enough.
okay. Let's ignore the past 3 years.
Yeah,
Let's ignore 2021 even.
yeah,
So before that, Max was kind of just a driver, He
yeah.
would, he was very good. He was definitely at the top of the pack, but he wasn't who he is now, right? And so you never know. The car could go bad, and then all of a sudden he has bad years. Didn't happen that way. It happened in Red Bull's favor of we have the superstar locked in, we have the car locked down. It's we're good to go till 2028. So for Red Bull, perfect timeline. For Max, had everything gone wrong, he would have still gotten paid. So you can't be mad at that.
No, but I think my personal feeling on the subject is they've heard they're not quite so convinced that the 2026 engine's going to be that good of Red Bulls,
Which I
or
don't.
they're worried about it.
Yeah,
Um, the Mercedes maybe have got a jump on everybody again.
Honda definitely does.
Honda will, but effectively the engines themselves will be very similar to the present day engine, but they have to be 100% reusable.
Fuel,
Uh,
fuel.
yeah, biodegradable fuel, and there's more battery, and they can't use the battery to spool the turbos now.
Right.
So, but the engines themselves are going to be very, and I've got a feeling Red Bull have got the Honda engine because they got the IP of the Honda engine,
Yeah.
so they know the engine.
Yeah,
Whether
but
Ford can come up with a battery is another matter.
I get what you're saying, and I totally agree. If they have an early insight on this engine right now, and it's not looking good, of course Max is going to want to jump ship, right? But
And how best to get them out?
it's 2 years. We have this whole entire season
Yeah.
and next season before they even put that engine into anything.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Ford's got a pretty good track record of getting things figured out. I think 2 years is plenty of time for Ford to go, this is it. So for them to panic now, I don't know. It just seems premature.
I agree, but usually you take opportunities when they arrive.
Yeah.
Now, the just to cover this situation and get them can go back to racing. The woman who accused Horner,
Okay.
according to I think it was the BBC now, they've got some information. Not only was she dishonest, apparently she altered the text were altered.
I don't know anything about it. I haven't looked
No,
into it.
I'm telling you what I've read. It could be the BBC or it could be one of the Dutch publications. I'm not sure, which I got
Okay.
from your mum.
And those are trustworthy.
And if it's the BBC that way, I would say it's true. But the suspension was because being dishonest. And then I heard the other thing that the text might have been altered. And if that's the case, and don't forget, then there was the disagreement with Horner and Marco over going back to picking Nick de Vries.
Yeah, that's true. They did have a disagreement over him.
Horner didn't want him at all.
Right.
I think he wanted to put Ricardo
Ricardo back
straight
in.
in there.
Yeah.
And Marco went, no, driver program, my charge. And that's when the bitterness between those two started.
Yeah, and it's funny because the Vries was
De
not
Vries.
even in the drivers program. He was with Mercedes.
Yeah.
So
And I think Marco's idea was to have two Dutch guys
yeah,
in Red Bull.
on paper it totally made sense.
Yeah.
Had Nick performed, and everything outside of Formula One made him look like he could really do it. And then he just had a bad car. So he didn't have what Bearman had this weekend, where he had a good car.
Yeah.
Like
And he
I
could
don't want
prove
to I
himself.
don't want to say bad driver, but he had a good car, so the car was going to help him, right? Whereas De Vries came into Formula One in the worst car
Yeah.
and then did badly. So
Yeah, because he didn't even get anywhere near Yuki.
well,
Uh, but
kind of early
so
on.
that's where the rift between Horner and
Yeah. No, I
Marco
understand.
started or
I
became
understand.
noticeable publicly. Also, Marco was for going ahead with the Porsche deal,
Hmm.
and Horner wasn't.
Horner wanted to go
So
with
that was
Ford.
No, no, because they would have lost control to Porsche. Porsche was going to get 51%.
Ah. Well, and so in that facet, I agree with Christian Horner.
Yeah.
Like,
And but Marco was all for it,
he probably
and that's
had
where
he probably had something in favor with that.
yeah. And
How old is Marco? He's in his 80s,
he's
right?
80, he's 80 or 80, he shows up Joe Biden.
Yeah, he does actually.
He
That's
mentally
a good point. I was about to
he is a
say Marco Helmut might be, a bit
might become
bigoted.
a git.
Let's say he's a bit bigoted, okay? He
Yeah.
might be a bit bigoted. But for 80 something years old and
Oh,
to play Game of Thrones in Red Bull and not do it like all Joe Biden like, it's actually very organized and meticulous. And
yeah.
if Helmet was behind all this tech stuff, could you imagine? Man.
I just loved his comment about that. He says I have trouble working with a mobile phone. Don't say I'm going to be altering text.
Yeah, yes.
And so he played on the age thing there.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
I
that's
think,
also a smart man going like, of course I don't know how to manipulate that.
his conversation with
You do it.
the Red Bull parent team has gone something like this: the Thai owners are not going to back you over Horner. They want Horner. They see what he's done for the team. He has he has been the pure organizer of that team.
Yeah.
He brought Newey in. He's brought he brought all the team get bonuses.
For how good they do.
How good they do, yeah. They all share in he's brought he's brought the team culture. Now people say it's a toxic environment. I don't believe so. You see those guys who work for Red Bull, the ones we see, they seem mighty happy about it.
Well, it's just like, why wouldn't you? You're
Yeah.
part of the team that's winning. Even if it sucks because you are going to win. And when you win, that feels really good. So it's just like, oh, it's toxic work environment. It's like you're too weak to handle it, essentially, because everyone
But
else is doing it.
is it a toxic work environment because you're told to pull your finger out and do your job? Is that what people don't like these days?
Yeah, go do your job. It's like, oh, I don't wanna.
Oh, me. No, and most
I
probably
want to go on
that's what
vacation.
happened. That's what happened with that woman. She got told, do a damn job.
Yeah.
And they've
Is she?
seen,
Wait, have we? Do we know what this? Who she is?
they've mentioned her name. I've seen a picture of her as well.
Is she attractive?
Not really.
Out of 10. Go ahead.
10.
Objectify a woman
Is
real
that
quick.
objectify a woman? If I was a young man again, it'd be I'd definitely have to have about 7 or 8 pints.
Oh my god, that's
So good for
stupid.
Josh.
Yeah, but it's just like, hey, this Christian Horner. Christian Horner was flirting with this person, and he's also married to one of the Spice Girls. That really makes sense.
Well, I'm going to make brownie points now.
Yeah.
You know my taste in women because of your mum. She's such a beautiful woman. So
Oh, that's all you had to say? That mom's
yeah,
beautiful? Okay, well, that was a
yeah.
low ball. Could have done better.
Full of ball and
Could
good
have
to
been
talk to as well.
could have been a bit more, romantic,
Oh, yeah,
poetic.
we've been together 30 odd years, so give it a break.
Yeah, mom's beautiful. You know my taste in women. Mom's
Yeah,
beautiful. That's
yeah,
enough. That's all I'll
yeah.
say. Um, okay. Back to
So
the race. We
back to the
did
race.
avoid one interesting topic.
Kevin Magnussen,
He's a part of it.
Nico Hulkenberg.
No. I'll let you keep guessing.
Oh. Is it to
Magnuson's
do with the
involved.
train, the K Mag
Not
train?
really. Not really. I guess if you you want to consider Yuki Tsunoda as a part of the conversation in this thing, but he's not. We're not talking about the train.
Oh, when Kevin Magnussen got passed by Yuki, then took it back.
No, no, no.
Oh,
Is
well,
that
you got me lost.
all right? Let's talk about penalties.
Oh, the penalties, yeah.
All right, so look, very first one. Lando Norris moves.
Yeah.
He moves. We see him move.
Well, as long
The,
as that's
the
not
sensors
before,
apparently say he didn't go past the line,
yeah, then it's
or
okay.
maybe they just went he didn't gain an advantage.
From what I could see from the video, because it's been replayed so many times, he moved, didn't go outside the box, and then the red lights went off. But he was still moving.
Well, yeah, and the rule I thought was you
It had
can't
to be
move.
stationary.
Yeah.
And I think because he was trying to stop, it ruined his own start.
Oh, completely. So
Yeah.
you're saying he got a
I think
disadvantage
he
because
got
of it,
lenient. He was
and the
disadvantaged. He got
lenience.
lenient because of it. But I've seen people get done for foul less.
Okay. So Norris doesn't get that. He doesn't get the weaving. He doesn't get any penalties actually.
No.
Kevin Magnussen hits Albon, squeezes Albon.
He squeezes Albon into the wall.
Yep. And he gets 10
Uh,
seconds for
he
that.
gets 10 seconds. I thought the 10
I've
seconds was a bit
seen
high.
I've seen people do this very thing where they hit someone and keep driving, and at most it's a 5.
Well, I'll quote you a really good one. I think it was at Imola, Piastri and Hamilton.
Okay.
20
Was a rookie last year, Dad, so
rookie last year, so 23. He knocked him off the damn track and got a 5-second penalty.
exactly a
Ruined his
5-second penalty.
race.
5-second penalty.
Ruined his race.
Silverstone 2021. Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. Max gets sent flying 200 miles or 200 or very quickly at a wall, stops
50 Gs,
over 50 G's of force on him
10-second
at the
penalty.
impact. That was also a 10-second penalty. So
Plus,
that
he was able to go into the garage and repair his car
yeah,
because he stopped the race.
and then won it.
Yeah.
And so a 10-second penalty for crashing someone out of a race versus a guy going like this to another car.
Yeah. Which was more because Albon himself
Did Albon's race get ruined?
No. Albon himself said it was a racing incident.
It's totally a racing incident. A
But
10-second penalty. And then
maybe
on
a 5.
top,
Maybe a 5.
maybe a 5.
Maybe a 5.
It's a maybe a 5, right?
The worst one.
Perez gets one. It was a maybe from the beginning, so cool. He gets a 5. That one makes sense. And then he goes off track and barely and gets another 10-second.
Well, there's a reason for that.
He didn't give it back.
And it all came about by the Mercedes of last year. At Austin, George passed slower driver, couldn't get past him. In the end, he went off track to pass him and never gave the place back. And the Mercedes argument was he's going to make more than 5 seconds.
Okay.
So it's better to keep on driving and not give the place back and he did. So the FIA said passing off track is going to be from 10 seconds if you don't give it back. To stop incidents like last year.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's just like
But
it felt like personal because it was like Lando got away with one, and so it seemed like okay, if you're McLaren, you're good to go. But if you're a poor, scummy, low Haas, we're gonna get you, and we're gonna. It felt like a personal attack on Haas.
If you look at how much he went off track, it's yes, he had all 4 wheels off.
No, barely.
When Russell overtook the guy at Austin, He was deliberately doing it,
Yeah,
and he kept his
egregious.
foot in, and it was an outrageous, and he just went, "Screw it." So, I thought the 10-second there was a bit unjust, and the 10-second for the Albon
The
incident was
squeeze,
unjust.
yeah.
But I understand what they've said about the overtaking off
No,
track.
I get that. I get
It
that.
makes sense, but you have to use sometimes common sense.
I don't have the full context behind it because it could have been the FIA told Haas, and then Haas said, "Fuck it, we're not
Well,
doing
they
that."
don't tell them anymore.
Well, so then how are they supposed to communicate? Hey, Kevin, you're gonna have to give that spot back.
Well, they turned round. They've turned round and they said last year it's now up to the teams to do it. Otherwise, we'll just issue the penalty. So the team is supposed to say to Haas, "Give it back." I also like one more comment about Haas. You spoke about it earlier, but not on this recording. I think now Steiner's gone, Haas will perform better.
Oh yeah, Komatsu's doing great. It's like whenever we saw Steiner, he's looking at the monitors like it's TV, reacting to it.
Yeah,
When I saw this Komatsu guy, he's literally like doing engineering. He's like looking at graphs and da da da, and you can see him communicating stuff, probably to the team, not the drivers. It's
yeah.
like, okay, that guy's working his ass off, and then Gunther Steiner was just a mascot. So it's
Don't get me
good to
wrong,
see
Winter
the
Steiner is fun,
yeah,
but
yeah, like a mascot would be.
it was good for Drive to Survive, but it's not good as for the team.
Well, yeah, exactly. Good for Drive to Survive, but
Oh.
when you're P10, and I think that last year was that their first. No, it wasn't the first time they got
I
P10.
think they had 3 points last year.
Yeah, um, the rookie year where they had Russian and Mick,
Yeah.
that was bad. But he got away with a lot of really bad seasons where they
Yes.
went, "Hey, actually, this isn't working," and now Haas is in front of four other teams
And to be
by a
fair,
point.
and to be honest, give him his due. Under his leadership now, the cars has Steiner. I mean, Haas's cars were developed under his leadership
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
They're not eating their tires anymore.
Well, Komatsu said their whole entire testing period was dedicated to we don't care about our one lap speed. Not
Yeah,
this year. Last year was all about one lap speed, right?
yeah.
Failed. Didn't work at all. This year, we're going to do race pace. Got a point ahead of other teams. And that
And
does
to be
kind
fair,
of highlight that the threshold to get points, the P10 in a race, it seems like the top 5 cars this year are so much farther ahead than the bottom 5.
yes. But even so, none of them are that far behind.
Right. It just like seemingly in a race environment, the top 5 teams are going to score and the bottom 5 are not.
Yeah.
And usually that doesn't work like that where it's they're close enough to get a couple here and then to get a couple there. It really seems like one of the 5 teams finally got 1 point.
I'd like to put it this way.
Good on House
You
for
know
being
how
it.
like you have in the soccer leagues in the UK and everywhere else in the world. If you perform badly over a season, you drop down a league.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's just Formula 1 doesn't work like that.
No, but
They
they've got
need
to do
their
something.
well, here's what I think. I think the P10 to get points is antiquated.
It
I
used to be 8,
reckon I know, and I reckon, and
6
this might be
actually.
a controversial take. You get scoring from P1 to P20. Even if you're
Okay.
P20, you get 1 point, and then you
Yeah.
just go up from there. The P20, P19 is 2 point, and you just climb up.
Yeah,
All
so
of a
you
sudden,
can
points are
judge
worth
the
more.
bottom. So you give the top teams, the top first place, a
Yeah,
higher point.
first place is way more in that
It's
case.
getting 7 points more at the moment,
Yeah, yeah, no, first
and
place.
I think
What I'm saying is in that P1 to P20 scoring system, getting first place would be way more valuable
oh,
than
yeah,
it is currently. Which would make the race for constructors a bit more interesting because it's more volatile at the top.
yeah,
And then you can properly judge everyone at the bottom.
and it's like
Because it's a bit awkward
the
when it's like, oh my god, we got seventh in the constructors this year, and we scored 4 points versus their three. It's just like you, that's four races at
yeah,
minimum. That's bad.
but it's
It's
like
lucky at that point.
we've got 6 sprint races this year.
Yeah, because
They got the new format,
I'm okay
but
with the sprints, but
I,
when
I'm not,
it like
because
dilutes the race weekend in a weird way that I'm just
I think they made it worse instead of improving the sprints in some ways. When they went from your sprint position will be your race
oh yeah
starting
yeah yeah yeah
position.
yeah. When
I
yeah
thought that was good.
I thought it was a good
That,
system. I was like, oh,
and
it's
then they
worth it.
go,
Teams that are bad at qualifying but good at racing get an advantage.
yeah,
They can all
and
build race pace
it
instead.
keeps all the cars going. Once you're out of the top 8, you go, well, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But now,
Um,
if you have that, there's always a reason to carry on racing.
exactly. I remember it was Spa last year where they had a sprint,
Yeah,
and Fernando spun,
yeah.
lost control, went off, and then I think he just went into the pits. He was like, "That's enough.
Yeah.
We're out of the points. We're not going to get points."
What's the point?
Point. But I
And
don't know. I don't know. Maybe it will
we'll
happen.
see. Let's see, because at least they can now still modify the cars
Yeah.
a little bit, because basically what it was this seat last year. It was one practice session, and your cars are fixed. Can't do anything to them after that. After because then it was
Yeah.
practice session, sprint qualifying, end of story.
Yeah. And could you imagine for someone like Bearman?
Yeah,
Like,
all
oh,
everything.
you come in after the sprint qualifying. You're just there for the sprint race for the first time getting in the car.
But by the way, your car's fixed.
Oh yeah, your
So
car's fixed.
all we can do is change the pedals and put you a different seat in,
Yeah, yeah,
effectively. We can
essentially.
change it, but we can't change the setup to suit you.
But you weren't able to practice anything, and yeah, this is a brand new car, and good luck. Yeah. So like had Sainz gotten sick during a sprint weekend, Bearman's situation would have been far worse.
Um, Someone put the point, but one thing I do not understand is when we had the first year of ground effects, all the cars were porpoising,
Yep.
and what they said for 23 season, all the ride heights had to be increased by to 15 millimeters
Right.
when they were stationary, so that they weren't bouncing. They relaxed that again this year. So guess what they've all done? They've all lowered their ride heights
And you
again.
can hear it. I remember
Yeah,
hearing the onboard of the McLaren. It's like for the windy bits, no sound.
yeah. Down
Bottom
the
me out.
straight.
Down the straight.
It just
And you're an
it's like
engineer. I'm not an engineer, but I feel like something touching the floor is going to slow you down.
oh, theoretically it would, but these titanium skid plates, it's almost like having a lube there. So it's not
So there's low friction.
the low friction. But the other thing is, it's the performance they gain by the aerodynamics of them doing that
Are
is
higher
far
than
better than
yeah.
the losses by the friction. But
Make a rule. It's like you're not allowed to
well, they're
skid.
putting
Well, that's why
sensors
they have
all over
skid.
the cars.
Why they have skid plates though.
Yeah. They
And
put
those
sen-
have been there for years,
they put
decades.
sensors all over the cars so that they could monitor it and say to teams whose cars were bouncing too much, raise your ride height by 10 millimeters.
Yeah.
But then now they scrap
But
it again.
yeah, I mean,
And
and
I just wonder if that's pressure from the teams that can't get their ground effects to work,
where
getting the rules
I wonder
relaxed.
I wonder how that works because they probably have figured out if you're just low to the ground, that's the best. But second to best is having a good floor. Um, I don't know. Maybe they get rid of ground effect in the future. You think ground
Um,
effect's been good? I think it's created too much of a
I
domination.
don't mind them getting rid of ground effects and going back, but let's stop having all these little silly little bits put on the sides of them. Let's keep the cars cleaner. You can do your aerodynamics, but
Uh,
you know, let's have them go back to more mid 2000s where there were clean designs.
I wonder if they could ever fix the regulations in a way where it's just make the best car.
Well,
Just
the only way you
make the
can do that,
fastest thing. We don't care what it doesn't have to be this green engine, green new fuel. But outside of that, do whatever you want. 16-inch wheel, 14-inch wheel, doesn't
no,
matter.
I would turn around and say, here's your wheelbase. You can't change that. Here's the overall width. You can't change that. Here's the overall length. You can't change that.
Yeah.
Here's all the safety stuff you have to comply with. There's your gift, but you can do anything else you like.
Well, so you're saying set a wheel size?
Well, you can turn around and
Because that makes it better for Pirelli. Yeah, it makes it more realistic.
so you get so that the you can't do different wheel sizes
Well, it'd be
because
cool if the teams could
yeah,
afford it.
but
Hey,
you
we're on
know,
the 14s this weekend.
Pirelli pays to be in Formula One. They
Yeah.
pay for that. Plus, they supply all the
Oh,
tires as
I
well.
see.
So they're going to produce a 14-inch tire, a 16-inch tire, an 18. No, it's not going to work. So let Pirelli do the tires.
Sure.
Here's the box the car has to fit in,
Yeah.
and you
No,
can
with
have
that,
this type,
all that I agree with.
and then just let it go.
Yeah, just this is how big. Um,
This is the
this is
engine
how
capacity. It's
this is how
supposed to be all
long.
nice and green.
This is how long. This is how wide. Um, here's the weight.
Right.
Here's the weight for safety standard. These are the safety standards. Your engine needs to run renewable fuel. Good luck, and just leave it like
And
that.
you can specify the minimum capacity and the maximum capacity as well. But
No, I would say just go unlimited capacity.
well, if you
If
look,
you think that you want to have an engine that is the size of the box we gave you because it's going to go faster, do it.
well, there was an example in the early '60s. It was by Jack Brabham. They changed the engine rules, and he came out with an engine which is basically the Rover engine, the old Rover V8, but it was a 3 litre capacity. It was a stock engine from a car manufacturer, tuned obviously. It was not the fastest engine by any means, but it's the most reliable, and he won the world championship there.
And
So,
that's pretty
but
cool.
I think to say you can do like the moment now, engines can only rev to 12,000.
Right.
When we had the
Feel
old
like
V10s
you can
and
only rev to
V8s,
40 million.
yeah, they were revving up to
Yeah,
24,000.
yeah, yeah.
Take all those restrictions off. But your engine must last. You're only allowed 3 or 4 engines, and that
Yeah,
keep those sort of things
I
in.
think the engine rules are fine.
Yeah,
Gearbox, all that stuff.
but I agree. Make it anything you like, but you're only allowed so much fuel. You're only allowed um, so much battery. The rest is free. So if you want to come up with a 2-liter V4, a 4-cylinder engine,
Mhm.
go for it. If you
Yeah,
want to use a V6, great. If you want to run a V10, great.
exactly.
If you,
If you want to do the rotary engine,
yeah,
but yeah, that's an hour. That's what our thoughts on the race were. The race itself was boring. There was some stuff to talk about. In a way, Red Bull's dominating too much. Good for Bearman. Good luck next
and
year on getting a contract.
and
There's seats. There's he might get a seat based off of that performance.
but they're
The
talking that he still might. They might be able to put him into either a Haas or an Alpha. No, it's not Alpha now. It's Strike, isn't it? For that 1 year. After that,
Kick Sauber. That's who he's talking
yeah.
about. Yeah, I don't know.
But you know, hell, maybe Red Bull should buy his contract and put him into the
I don't think he.
Toro Rosso.
Yeah, Liam Lawson did too well for
No, put him
them.
and Liam Lawson in there.
Yeah, but then you're just giving up on Yuki.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think he's off to. I
I,
think
th-
he's off to Aston Martin
I think yeah,
with the Honda engine.
you're probably right. Yeah, I mean it's clear that there's a difference between teams. It seems that the McLaren Mercedes are kind of swapping places.
Yeah, but
Ferrari's
to
doing
me,
well, but yeah,
I like Alonso, but let's have a young guy. Same with Hamilton.
I think
Same with Ricciardo.
I think Alonso you're wrong on. I think Hamilton you're right on. I think Hulkenberg,
Also,
Magnussen, Ricardo. I
go
think they're. I think Alonso's the only exception because he's very much so outperforming his teammate,
yes,
and he
and
maximized the P5 for Aston Martin this weekend. The only reason, by the way, Haas got a point was because Stroll got into an accident.
yes, and some very good uh, defensive driving by Magnussen.
Yeah. I think Perez is doing a very, very good job for
Yeah,
any chance that someone's taking a seat right now.
I wouldn't
Yuki
change
and
the
Ricardo,
driving.
Yuki and Ricardo have not proved it.
Not yet.
They haven't outperformed the car essentially. Um, Perez has done pretty much exactly what Red Bull's always wanted him to do. And why would you get rid of the guy who's
Exactly.
now helped Max get this many championships? So I think that about does it.
Yeah, McLaren. That pairing's good.
Yeah, I think they're good to go.
Mercedes. Let their young Italian guy in there.
I think Russell's really, really done a good job at making sure that Hamilton is regretting his decision.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm outperforming you.
this is what you should be able to do.
Yeah, I was in front of that Ferrari by the rookie. You were behind it.
Yeah,
Choke.
I'm
Uh-uh.
I'm only getting 15 million a year. You're
Yeah,
getting 60 or
yeah,
70.
something like that. So not a crazy exciting race weekend, but a race weekend nonetheless. Suzuka is next, correct?
Yeah, no, Australia.
Oh, nice. Australia's a good track.
Yeah,
That's where we're actually going to start actually seeing
the car position.
where the cars are going to be. These first two tracks, not necessarily a bad demonstration of it because Red Bull's clearly shown that they're dominant, but is Ferrari actually as good as they are? Or are the other teams just not good at setting up the?
I think
It
we
should
got
be interesting race weekend.
after Australia we got Suzuka, and then we got China.
Ooh, China. I haven't been there in a bit. Be
Oh,
interesting.
COVID.
Well, okay. Thank you again
Okay,
for watching the whole thing.
and yeah. So, mum, dad, grandma, granddad. Hope you enjoyed
Hey,
this.
hey, family. We talked to my mom's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for watching.
yeah,
Like the video,
and we'll
subscribe.
see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.